Friends, welcome back, and if you're new, welcome to the channel. Here I do a lot of videos about books and everything about reading. So in today's video I am talking about our mid-year tag, our halfway marker for the year, and I want to talk about books, my reading challenge goal this year, where I'm at, what books I've read, and which ones kind of worked and didn't, and let's go from there. Okay, let's jump into it. Okay, friends, so I don't know about you, but I have Goodreads and I do a reading challenge every year. This year, also, if you see me looking off screen, I'm looking at my notes here for all the books I've read. So this year, for 2025, I decided I wanted to read 45 books. So where am I right now at the middle of the year? Am I doing it? Am I not? I have currently read 20 books out of 45 books. I am right now 2 books behind, which I think I can catch up because I'm doing audiobook. And I'm about to finish a short little book. So I think we've got it in the bag. I'm on track. I am on track, guys, to reach the goal. So what books have I read this year? Let's start from the beginning, back in January. So the first book I read in the new year was this one. It is called Practicing the Way, Be with Jesus, Become Like Him, Do As He Did by John Mark Comer. This is a Christian nonfiction book. It is all about, as the title says, practicing the way, what it means to be a follower of Jesus, like a true follower of Jesus. If you've not already read a John Mark Comer book, it is a very theological, asking questions, very thought-provoking, often challenging, but it is also usually a 5-star read for me. All of John Mark Comer's books so far have been 5-star reads. This one was a 5-star read for me, and I loved it. It was, it's kind of short, but John Mark Comer's books seem short, but they're never short. Like every 2 chapters, my brain is having to process. So keep that in mind. But it was such a good book. His books are always profound, and there's so much truth in it. So this was definitely a good book for me. The second book I read in the year was called Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries by Heather Fawcett. This is a fantasy book. It was, I think, my first fantasy in a while that I read, and I was going in thinking that I might not like it, but I ended up giving it a 4 stars, and it was actually pretty good. So this is about Emily Wilde, who's like a scientist in this realm, in this book, and she is trying to document fairies, a certain type of fairies. And she goes to this place to start documenting, doing her research, doing her, getting all her information together. There is I wouldn't say a rival scientist, but like a colleague of hers that she's not a fan of, and he decides to join her and decides to kind of like impose it that it would be, all this information would be in his paper, his discoveries. And she, obviously, that's not what she wants. She wants to publish under her own name and do her own research. But at first, they, are in a cottage that they share a space together. And so there is this kind of like, not enemy to lover, but this like, this not getting together, kind of, you annoy me, to, okay, you are, I'm in a space with you, you're actually not insufferable as that I thought you were. And so there's this bond that starts happening. He also helps her with her research, and there's some stuff happening that he's able to know more about fairies that she thought, and no one's really known this. So there's this question, like, how does he know this? There are also things that he does that seem a little interesting, and so you'll have to read the book because I don't want to spoil anything, but it ends up being kind of like, I was very like taken aback by what we discovered, and so it was a very good book. I give it a 4 stars, like I said, and if you like things with fairies and kind of fantasy, this is definitely a book for you. The third book I read in the year was Murder on the Oriental Express by Agatha Christie. I love reading Agatha Christie during the winter months. It's just, I don't know, I find that super. I tend to read a lot of mystery books in the winter and the fall. Let me know if you're like that too. So this is a very popular book. I think it's also a movie, which I also watched the movie as well. This is one of Agatha Christie's works. She is obviously so many books, and she's also probably the most known author besides, I don't know who else, but Agatha Christie is very known. Anyway, so I read this book and I actually gave it a 3 stars. A lot of people rated it high on Goodreads, and while it was good, I felt like maybe it was a little predictable for me, and so I knew kind of how it was going to go. The pacing was a little bit slower for me. So this was overall still a pretty good, solid 3 stars. But I've read other books by her that I actually really liked. I read And Then There Were None, and this was like one of my favorite books of hers. So also, I think maybe my first book that I read from her. So good. And this one, it was okay, but I think that it just was okay. So, but that might not be the case for you. So try it out for yourself if you like Agatha Christie or mystery books. The next book I read was called Life on the Rocks, Building a Future for Coral Reefs by Julie Burwald. I gave this book also a 3 stars. This book has to do with corals, and you guys already know I love anything ocean related, corals. I love them. And this book was good. The parts where I learned about the corals were really cool, but this book was also a little bit about her life. And it was kind of dark and heavy and sad, and I didn't really like to read that part of the book. And I maybe just wanted more of the nonfiction, just straight teach me something. So it felt in the middle. It was 3 stars. It was okay. It could have been a little bit, it was just not what I thought it was going to be. But if you like corals, but you also like the way people integrate their lives into that, then maybe this is the book for you. But it was okay for me. This book I read was Wishtress by Nadine Brands. Wishtress is a young adult fiction. It is a book about this girl. Her name is Mirth, and she is born with the ability that when she cries her tears, she can grant you a wish. And something kind of unexpected happens, and she's cursed. And this means her next tear will also be her last, because she'll die if she cries. And she's going through a lot in this book of loss and some trauma. She's going through a lot, which requires a lot of emotions. And there's so many moments where she wants to cry, but she can't. Well, there's this journey of trying to undo this curse, and it takes her working with another character. His name is Bastian, and he also has a unique ability to stop time. And when he stops time, he can bring someone into that stop time, but he can stop time and then be stopped for a long periods of time, whereas other people it's just so cool that this ability allows him to stop time. But he has also committed a crime, and not a lot of people know about it. And so there's all these two characters that their stories kind of intertwine. And honestly, I gave this book a 5 stars. I loved it. There were so many times I highlighted quotes, and I felt so connected to the characters. Also, I read this in February, or like in the winter months. Also, I recommend it. It's like a fall winter book. if you can tell by the cover. And the character was going through some emotions that I was kind of going through in real life. And it was kind of like a hit. I felt so seen and heard. And also, the pacing is really good in this book, as well as just the characters. I think the characters really made it for me. I've been noticing that's a thing with me. Characters are really important when I rate a book really high. So if that's something you like about magic and powers and characters that are really well developed, then this is going to be a good book for you as well. Read was called Undistracted by Bob Goff. This is also a Christian nonfiction, kind of self-help motivational book. If you've not read a book by Bob Goff, highly recommend. He teaches you real life things in stories, and he's hilarious. I literally recommend him. He's so funny. It's called Undistracted: Capture Your Purpose, Rediscover Your Joy. And it's really about what's important in life, what's taking from doing the real things that you want to do in life and not live distracted by things that don't matter. I give this book a 4 stars, so it's definitely really good. Bob Goff has always been a really good read for me, a good author. I always really like his books. And this is a book, if you're kind of like maybe even in a slump of like motivation, this is a good book to read. Highly recommend. The next book I read is called An Anthology of Exquisite Birds by Ben Horay. And this book is more of a really pretty book about birds. It's not like chapter books, it's like you read about different birds. It has a beautiful cover on it. I got it from the library and it was so pretty. This book I pretty much rated it like a normal, like 4 stars. It just was a nonfiction book where I was reading about birds. So if you like birds, this might be a really cool, beautiful book to look through. I really liked it. Read is called What About Me? Get Out of Your Own Way and Discover the Power of Unselfish Life by Joyce Meyer. This is also a Christian nonfiction book. Joyce Meyer is a Bible teacher. She is powerful. She's a very strong woman. And this book is all about not being selfish, not living a selfish life, a life that doesn't focus on you, whereas you're always complaining about life and thinking about yourself and just grumbling through life, never being satisfied. And so this book was really a good motivation about how to get out of that and how to love people. And in that process of not focusing on yourself, you learn to have joy and you learn to have a more purposeful life that is not always, why me? Why does this happen? And just complaining, but it's a life where you live more purposefully. And it was a 5-star read for me. Joyce Meyer is always a 5-star read for me. It's also motivational. It's also very uplifting, and I recommend it if you need something like that. The book I read is called The Underground Library by Jennifer Ryan. This is a historical fiction book. It follows 3 women during the Blitz. And it follows 3 characters. We have Juliet, Katie, and Sophie. And they're each going through their own different things in life. But the one thing that kind of connects them all is this underground library that happens in the London Tube underground. Because the war is so bad, the library was destroyed, and they have to keep the books underground, and they keep them there. But what they learn is that people come to find books. It's a safe place, a place of refuge during the war, where there's not a lot of things to distract people. And it's a beautiful story. Each character is going through hard things, and the way that it all ties in, the way that this friendship and the bonds between these women is so beautiful to read about. You guys know I love historical fiction, so this one was really good for me. I gave this book 4 stars, so still really good book, and I highly recommend it if you really like books about, the war and London, England time period during the Blitz. It's very good. I enjoyed it a lot. This book I read is called Infused: Adventures in Tea by Henrietta Lovell. This is a book all about tea. Henrietta Lovell is known as the Tea Lady. I read this during the spring, and I really enjoyed it because I am a tea lover, fanatic. I love tea. And this is about her journey of going to different places around the world to source the best tea. For she sells tea, her company sells tea, and so she talks about every place she's been to around the world, Africa, India, to source good tea from local farmers, for people who are harvesting the tea leaves, and also the adventures that come with that. And she has so many stories that she talks about in her adventures of finding good tea. I think I rated this a 4 stars. It was very good. I loved it. It also comes with pictures with her adventures, and it's just so fun to see things that she's done, places she's been, and it's so fun. So, if you're a tea person, this is going to be your book. The next book I read is called Emma by Jane Austen, a very known book. Okay, I might get some hate for this, but I only gave this book a 2 stars. I've learned that I am not a fan of Regency books or books of that era, books of that have to do with that kind of category. I don't know. I wasn't a fan. I thought some of the characters were annoying. Emma seemed very pretentious, and like, I don't know, I just don't do well with characters that think very highly of themselves or better than other people. That wasn't my vibe. I know that it's very well loved, beloved by some people. I actually watched the movie as well, and I thought the movie was also very strange. I don't know. I thought it was just overall a very interesting book. And so therefore, I probably won't be reading more books in this type of era. That's just me. But if you love it, don't hate me. You love it. That's great. Okay, so next book is called My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Backman. Frederick Backman, this is a fiction book. It is about this little girl, Elsa, and her grandmother dies, and her grandmother has her task to give these people in the building that she lives in letters, and each person had a special interaction with her grandmother. She learns more about her grandmother actually through these giving them the letters and the interactions. And Frederick Backman is probably one of my favorite authors. I read A Man Called Ove, or Ove, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, and it was by far one of my favorite books. And so this book, pretty much 5 stars for me. What I love about him is that the characters feel so real. Like, they feel like real people. They're funny, they're sassy, angry, and I really love that about the way he writes, and this book did just that. I absolutely loved it. I highly recommend it. So heartwarming, and so comforting in a way. Elsa is going through grief, obviously, in this process, but there's healing in the journey of giving these people letters, both for her, but also for the person receiving the letter as well. It's beautiful. I highly recommend. 5 stars. Okay, the next book was The Mountain Is You: Transforming Self-Sabotage into Self-Mastery by Brianna Wiest. I actually listened to the audiobook of this, and I give it a 3 stars. It was okay. It's a self-help book about overcoming and transforming yourself, not getting into the self-sabotage of your thoughts, and not sabotaging your life. But I've read so many books similar to this that this felt similar to other ones I've read. So if this was the first one that you probably read and not other ones, this probably was like amazing. But for me, it was one that I read after so many other nonfiction self-help books that I've read. So it just felt okay for me. 3 stars. But again, try it if you've not read a book like this. A lot of people really like it. So I read is called World of Wonders in Praise of Fireflies, Whale Sharks, and Other Astonishments by Amy. And to be honest, I don't know how to say her last name. It's very long. Okay. But we'll put it on the screen. This is a short little book. It's about different animals, and what she does is she ties in, you learn about these different animals, but it also ties in a little bit about her life and her journey. She is uh, a professor, and she talks about different things that happened as a professor in her life as a mom, and it's very beautiful. It's kind of poetic. It is a book that is nature and also a little bit about someone's life, and in a way that is short, kind of to the point. You feel probably some sympathy, or maybe you feel a little bit like her in some regards. I know there are certain instances she talked about something that I've experienced, and it was just really cool to read about this perspective. It was very good. I think I gave this one an overall 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. The book I read is The Secret Book of Flora Lee by Patty Callahan Henry. This is a book, it's a fiction book, and it is about 2 sisters, Hazel and Flora. And this is historical fiction because it had to do with the war in London and how they were living there, these 2 sisters, but their mom had to send them out to the countryside. And so during the Blitz, and they moved to the countryside. This lady takes them in, and it's a beautiful story about Hazel and Flora, these 2 sisters, and a tragedy that happens where Flora goes missing or is thought to be dead. But in the future, in the present time, Hazel, she works at this bookstore, finds a book that has a story that only Hazel and Flora knew. It's a secret story that only them two knew. And now it's in a book that she found. She doesn't know what to do. Does this lead to her sister? What does this mean? Is her sister alive? And what's going on? So it leaves down this story of following. You get flashbacks of when they were younger and then what she's going through now. And it is such a good book. I give it a 5 stars. It's beautiful. Like, the author writes about the environment and like the setting. It's so you can literally see it, the setting. It comes to life. But also these characters. There's so many twists too. Oh, I recommend it. Highly recommend it. It's so good. And honestly, I think this book also just kind of shows you the bonds between siblings and sisters and what does that mean, and the beauty in that. So I highly recommend. There's also some romance in there that was not the main story, but it was there, and it was still pretty good. So highly recommend. This book is called Relationship Roadmap: Step-by-Step Directions to Finding Your Spouse by Stephen Chandler. This is a Christian nonfiction book. It is about dating as a Christ follower. What does that mean? I listened to the audio version of this, which was really good. I like listening to the author when that's available. It was a self-help book. It was also very insightful, a lot of good things to know about when dating in as a Christian and what that means. I rated this as a 4 stars, so it was still pretty good. And it was just kind of like a self-help book. I really enjoyed it. He's also very funny, the author, and so I really liked, and he's very real. I think this is a book that if you read a lot of Christian dating books, this is the first one where it actually felt the author shared about things that not other authors shared about. So I recommend it. Okay, next up, we've got Remember God by Annie F. Downs. Annie F. Downs is this is a nonfiction Christian book. It's about Annie's journey about going through a hard season in her life. And she's trying to understand how God is a part of it and how he is in it when things are hard. How is he loving when things are hard? And honestly, this book really aligned with the season I was in. A lot of questioning and a lot of just emotions, hard emotions. And she takes you into that hurting so vividly, so well. It was a 5-star read for me. Annie F. Downs has a way of making you feel like you're her friend, like she's listening to you, like she's there with you, and you're there with her in the pain and hardship. Um, I recommend a lot of her books. They've all been pretty high rated for me. This is also just beautiful and just the reality of being a follower of Christ, but also going through hard things. What does that mean, and how do we go through it? She leaves us with some good stuff to think about. So, the next book on the list of books I've read so far this year is called Power Trip: The Story of Energy by Michael E. Weber. This is a nonfiction book about energy. So, um, this was a very informative book about energy and how that has changed the evolution of humanity, and just it's very informative. Micro obsession about learning about energy and how does that affect humanity and where does the future of energy go. So this was a really good informative book. I give it 4 stars. I like things that teach me. So this was one of those books. If you are looking into energy, renewable energy, and like to learn about a technology, then this is a book that you will enjoy. But it was 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Something I really liked about this book in particular was the way the author talked about the history of energy is the history of human evolution. And I never thought about it that way. But after he shares explanations about like cavemen, their energy was fire, and later electricity was their energy, and which allowed us to, stay up later. And now our future of energy, while we're using fossil fuels that can't last forever. So what does renewable energy look like? Wind, solar, all of these forms of energy, and what does the future look like of energy? And so I thought it was very informative, kind of nerdy, but I love that stuff. And it was good. This book I read is called The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. And this is a fantasy book. This is a book loved by a lot of people. Also, the cover is beautiful. Its sprayed edge is purple. It's beautiful. So I gave this book 3 stars. I know. Don't come at me. But so the atmosphere of this book, top rated. It makes you feel it's a cozy fantasy, to be specific. It's about this character. Her name's Kiela, and she's blue. She's got colored hair. There are mermaids in this book. There are centaurs. Like, it's very fantasy. Like, but it's very cozy. She lives in a cottage. She makes jam, and this book is loved by many, and I see why. The environment, the coziness is top notch. Loved the coziness. But what fell short for me was the pacing of the book. It was kind of long in some instances. There's a bit of romance. Actually, just some romance in this book. It's very cute romance. Like, it's just like, I did like that. But I think the plot itself fell a little short for me. There's some moments where it dragged and could have been shorter. And the ending, there was like too many endings. I don't know how to describe it, but the plot just wasn't there, and the characters were good, but we could have probably like gone into some of the characters weren't well developed in my mind. So while the feelings of this book were like through the roof, you could definitely feel the coziness. The plot was not there. Some of the characters were okay. But I still had a good time reading it. It was good. I just thought it could have been a little better. But if this is a book you highly love, please know that I respect you for that. We're we're all friends here. So that's my thought on that book. This book, the last in this list of books I've read so far is called I Want to Trust You, But I Don't by Lisa Turkers. And this I gave a 3 stars. This is a nonfiction Christian book. Um, it's about her story of basically being betrayed. She talks about her journey and finding out that her husband was, you know, not being faithful to her, and what does it mean to trust people again, and the journey of having a hard time trusting people when they have hurt you. And she goes through her journey of that process. It is a very good book. I think I was in a bit of a reading slump during this time, so um, that's probably why I give it a 3 stars. Maybe that's why I gave the Spell Shop a 3 stars. I just things I was reading weren't quite hitting. But I read other books by Lisa Turkers, who's the author of this book, and those were great, phenomenal. So it just might have been me, but her story is also very encouraging, and she's very like empathetic and feels you. She's similar to Annie F. Downs in that way, which I really like about her. So you might want to give it a try too if you're going through something similar to her story. And even if you're not going through something similar to her story, it's just a story about learning to trust people and um, also trusting God in this process when hard things happen. So I recommend it. So yeah. All right, that is it for the books I've read so far this year. I'm nearly on track for the books to reach my goal for 45 books this year. So, yeah, let's hopefully I continue to stay on track, and let me know what in the comments what your goal for your reading challenge this year was. Are you on track? How it's going? Let me know. I would love to talk to you guys about it. And if this was a video you enjoyed, give it a like, share it with other book friends, and until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye!